Latoya. Snodgrass is a mentor, prophet, and believer in Jesus who seeks to empower God's people by sharing the heart of God through prophecy. You're tuned in to Toya Talks. Time to be empowered.
Hello and welcome to yet another week of Toya Talks. I am your founder and host, Latoya Snodgrass. Super excited to be with you today. We have a very needful topic for today, and I'm excited to give you the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that I've acquired over the years of interviewing and interviewing others. So, if you have not already, if you're on Facebook, would you please like and follow my page so that we can continue to share the good news of Jesus and all the things that he gives us to have successful lives. So please share this broadcast. I would greatly appreciate you. And for those who tune in on YouTube, please do share, like, and subscribe to the page and help us to share the gospel throughout this great world. So if we are ready, let's go ahead and pray. Father, thank you for your word, for your promises, for your goodness. I thank you that you have given us all sufficiency in all things. I thank you, God, that this lesson will bless everyone who listens. God, let it get out and let it bless others and let them see the manifestations of what they're looking for in their careers, because you have given us all things and you want us to be successful in every aspect of life. Jesus said, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Amen. So great to be with you. You know, most of my content is strictly about spiritual issues and the inward heart and how it projects outwardly into our daily experience. Those are heavy topics that I focus on: prophecy, empowerment. But I also coach. So I want you all to be able to have resources from a biblical standpoint and a practical standpoint that will help you be successful in life. And one of the things that we need, but the Bible says, is that money answereth all things. So it's our tool and our medium of exchange here on earth. It is not our God, it is a tool. But God does give us the power to make wealth. And one of those ways is through apprehending jobs and being on a trajectory for an upward mobility career. And one of those things that we have to master to really get where we want to get is knowing how to interview. So, you know, the Bible also says that his people perish for a lack of knowledge. And we need to be fully equipped and not treat it, you know, with nervousness or treat it with apathy either. So it does demand our attention. And I believe these tips will help you be successful. Certainly, they have helped me throughout my career. I have made it my business to ask employers how many people apply to this role, and they'll tell me 30 or 50 or 80 or 100, and then it leads me to think, well, if it was that big of a pool of applicants, there's something that I'm doing that is consistently getting results of you're hired, right? So then I've been on the other end where I wasn't hired, and I really sought information to figure out what is the missing link. So that's what I want to help you with today. So this is about 15, 20 years of experience of me interviewing, learning how to interview successfully, and also knowing what to look for when I interview others. So I have both aspects. Firstly, I want to start with this. When you are preparing for an interview, and yes, I said preparing, so we don't go into interviews blindly. Number one, we don't just wing it, right? You are a tool that you're marketing. You are selling yourself in this regard. You are making known to this employer, you interviewed me, but you're also going to hire me because there's nobody better than me, right? That has to be the mentality. So tip number one, never, and I mean never, go into the interview and announce that you're nervous. That is assumed. The interviewer is probably nervous. They want to fill a role. They need help. They probably have a pressure and a deadline behind them. So going in and saying, oh, I'm nervous, please don't do that. And I'm currently the regional supervisor for birth defects, epidemiology, and surveillance with the Texas Department of State Health for regions 5 and 6. So I've had to started hiring and interviewing and preparing to expand my team. And the number one thing is a lot of applicants will say, I'm nervous. Don't do that. Because why? Nervousness is a human thing, but when you announce it, it becomes a psychological thing. So now you've branded yourself as nervous, so you're even more nervous, and then your interviewer is perceiving you through less credible eyes. They feel like, okay, you're nervous, so does that mean you're not prepared? Just don't do it. If you're nervous, swallow and ask Lord, help me to overcome my nervousness, okay? Second thing, when you start to do your study and your research for your interview, I want you to dig so deep that this information can't be found on their websites. I want you to look for press releases. I want you to go to LinkedIn and research the company, look at what people are saying about the company, look at employers' activities. What are they saying that are the mission statements, the vision statements, but how are they walking those things out? So research. Do not ask things that are obvious. Oh, when did this company start? Or because that tells me that you're not hungry. You're not truly interested in the role, because you would have known that if you were. So do your research. These are all things leading up to the interview. And this will help alleviate your nervousness. I want you to also forget about questions you think they will ask you. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive. You need to figure out what they need to know about you, so you give them what they need, right? The interviewers don't know what they need. All they know is that they have an issue and they need to solve it by hiring somebody. So you put on the thinking cap, I'm the problem solver. So what information do I need to convey to this employer to let him or her or them know that yes, she can absolutely solve the problem? So you look through the lens of, I am solving a gap. I'm bridging a gap. Okay? So forget about the questions they ask you. I don't want you to study questions. I want you to study how to deliver what they need. So that means I'm going to tell you what you need to know, even if you don't ask. And I know you're thinking, well, how can I do that without being awkward? It's all in the way that you deliver your answers, okay? So yes, practice, but practice what you know they need to know. Don't practice the questions that you predict they will ask you. Why? Because if you do that, you will be so focused on just a narrow piece of yourself that you will forget the big picture of who you are, and that's who they need to see. And then you also don't want to come across so rehearsed that it feels disingenuous, right? You don't want to be robotic in your answers. You want to have a nice fluid flow. When you go into the room, you command the room with your presence, right? So you do your research and you sell yourself and you tell them what they need to know about you. So stop looking at, tell me about yourself. And those questions, sure, they'll come up, but I want you to study how to do that, okay? Nextly, when you get in there, give a firm handshake to all interviewers if it's in person. If you are interviewing via Teams or Zoom or Google Meet or whatever video conferencing platform, practice using it before you get on that day so that there's no missed clicks, there's no accidentally keeping your camera on while you're digging in your nose. There's nothing humiliating that can happen. So practice using that platform. I want you to look into the camera. So when you're in person, it is eye contact. I don't mean a blank stare and you're making everybody uncomfortable, but it's a constant, pleasant smile with a good open eye to let you know that I'm attentive, I'm aware, I'm listening, and I'm capable. When I was doing interviews recently, this young lady literally said, I won't be looking at you. And I'm thinking, oh no, you're losing human contact. You must look at me. I don't care how uncomfortable it is, look at me, okay? So in person, give consistent eye contact. If it's a panel, kind of go through and do a quick sweep, and then each question you're focusing on a different face. But video conferencing, the temptation is to look at the screen. No, I want you to look in the eye of the camera. Keep your eyes there. Keep a constant smile. And you have to smile even harder because you have to convey who you are via conference, right? It's not as easy as when you're in person. So it's a constant bright smile and it's consistent eye contact. Do not lose eye contact. I don't care if the interviewer looks away to jot something down. You stay in the camera and you stay attentive and you listen to their questions and you answer them. Okay? Okay, so that's part of it. The majority of this is confidence. You have to know who you are, why you're capable for the role, and that will be conveyed to your interviewer. Secondly, I don't want you to just drone on and on. I want you to use your hands, use your face, use gestures, because this will strike to the interviewer, okay, this person is comfortable. This person knows what she's talking about. This is psychology, guys. The majority of interviewing is a psychological game. And I'm just going to tell you what it is, because people hire who they like and who are capable. They're more likely to hire someone who they like and who is capable versus someone who is capable and then didn't come across as likable. And they may be the better person, but people go by what they feel. So yeah, I felt she knew what she was doing. I felt comfortable with her. I felt like she would be great with the team. These are languages that we all use, right? When we're starting to make those decisions, myself and the panel said, I didn't feel that she was confident. That's the number one thing. How did you make your interviewer feel? Okay? The fourth thing, do not make this interview about your personal life. That is a trick and a trap that a lot of people fall into. When I say, tell me about yourself, or why are you interested in the role? It doesn't need to be because this pays well. That's a portion of why, but we don't reveal that because it doesn't come across genuine. We don't say, well, I just needed a job, so here I am. Or we don't say, well, I'm married with 4 kids and we live here, we live there. When people say, tell me about yourself, they mean professionally or educationally. Do not start talking about your personal life because you will lose your interviewer. Okay? They're going to say, she doesn't really come across as professional. She is being way too personal. And believe me, these conversations happen. You want to come across personable without revealing your personal business. Does that make sense? So we're not asking you how long you've been married. We're not asking you what church you go to. We're not asking you your favorite hobbies. When we say tell us about yourself, tell us why you're the perfect fit for the role. That's another way for you to think of it. Okay? So while we're here, I'm going to give you the right way. Man, this is getting lengthy. This is going to take a part 2, I think. Let me give you this, and then I'm going to give you one more because this is a lot of information that you probably need to watch several times. When they ask you, tell me about yourself, I want you to package it in 3 steps. You tell them who you are professionally, and then you tell them how long you've been doing it, and you tell them your successes while doing it. Okay? So certainly, here's an example. My name is LaToya Snide. Well, let me start here. They typically will know your name. You can add your name if you want, but you don't have to. So I'm a public health senior advisor, and I have been doing it successfully for 14 years. And I have created 20 programs from start to finish, along with evaluations that have radically changed the lives of 40,000 people by data documentation. Okay? So I gave you who I am professionally. I'm a senior health public advisor. I gave you how long I've been doing it and the successes I've seen. Now, when I say successes, I mean pick what they want. So if you're going for a program director, talk about the programs like I did that you created from start to finish through evaluation, right? The whole gambit. And they're presently still going. They're still successful. That is a great way to present who you are because they get everything in a nutshell. And look, it didn't take long, a few seconds. Okay, I think that was tip 5. All right, y'all. Let me give you one more, and then next week I'm going to do a part 2 because this is a lot of information and you need to know. Number 6, your appearance. Your appearance is very important. Yes, they are going for what you can offer, but they want you to be the package, right? Here's another psychological part of this. The way you present is the way people perceive your work. So you need to be extremely neat, no loud colors. Navy is preferable, right? Because it speaks to power and compassion. Black is a little staunch and hard. White is a little too soft. Tan is one of those neutral colors that's like ambiguous when it comes across to psychological interpretation during the interview. So navy really is the power color. That's the one I highly recommend. Ladies, small earrings, no hoops that are going to be distracting. Hair either back or straight or in a bun. Gentlemen, clean cut button shirts, suit jacket. I don't care if you're going to interview at Chick-fil-A. Wear a suit, right? Because you need to convey who you are. You need to convey your power. Have a nice, neat haircut, gentlemen. Make sure, ladies, that your makeup is not over the top. Neutrals. Maybe a nice gloss. Not the over-the-top eyelashes, right? We don't want your eyelashes saying, hey, before you do. Just keep it clean. Keep it clean cut. Keep it professional. Ladies, heels 2 inches or under. We don't want to go in with 3, 4, 5-inch heels. That doesn't speak to professionalism. Jewelry, maybe a watch and 1 bangle. Nothing that can be distracting or make noise while you're using your hands. Nail should be a nice, probably French or a beige or a clear, something neutral. We don't want to go in with neon nails. Things that will take away. That's what I'm getting at. Anything that takes away, we just don't want it. Okay? So we want to present ourselves in a nice, clean way as a clean, clear, cut package. This is what you're getting. You're getting an expert, and you're getting someone who will work hard and be consistent. Okay? So I hope those things helped you. Those are my first 6 tips. Watch it again and again, share it, and then I'll be back next week with some more. So I hope this blessed you. Thank you for listening. I'm excited for you. I cannot wait to hear how this turns your whole experience around. Next week, I probably want to talk about the resume. I'll wrap up with some more interviewing tips, but the resume is how you get to the interview. So I'll probably talk about that next week. Stay tuned. I love you. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and a wonderful worship tomorrow. God bless.